before I met the gentleman that's highlighted tonight, what I was doing before I met him was I had a 9-to-5 job. I clocked in every day, I clocked out every day. I couldn't make no more money than what was agreed upon day one that I started working there. That was my life. Just bought my house. And when I bought my house, I happened to get ready to cut my grass, new homeowner. I had to be about 24, 25 at the time. I went to cut my own grass. Late evening, I seen a guy, appeared to be this drunk, coming down, wanting to ask me for some money. So I quickly said, I got it. One is I didn't want him in my yard, and I wanted to keep him going. He insisted that, and at that time I pulled out the money to give it to him to send him on his way. He insisted that he didn't want anything for free. And he asked, could he cut my grass to make a couple of dollars? He said I wanted a double cheeseburger and 2 40s. At the time, a double cheeseburger was $1. And 2 40s were, $2 a piece. He said, I just need $5, that's all I need. And we had talked so long, I said, well, go ahead and cut the grass. But when I went on upstairs, took a shower, got ready. When I came back down, he had cut the grass, edged the yard, blew it off, and put my stuff back in the garage nice and neatly. At that moment, I proceeded to hand him a $20 bill. He said, nah, all I asked for was $5. If you got something that you need me to do tomorrow, I'll come by tomorrow and we'll do something else. I just need $5. And before that statement ended, he was like, if you don't mind, it's kind of late. You mind dropping me off by the tire shop up the street? I said, that's the least I can do, come on. I'm thinking the tire shop is just a shorter walk home. Not knowing at the time, I didn't learn this till weeks later, months later, that the tire shop was actually his home. He would work there and they would allow him to sleep in an abandoned car while he was at the tire shop. So as we got closer, and I dropped him off at the same tire shop, thinking, sort of in the hood, you drop off one spot so they could walk through a path to go somewhere else so they ain't let you know where they stayed or whatever. That's what I thought. And he said, no, just stay back here. I said, you sure? So as the days went on, the time went on, me and him, we sat out in front of the garage, listening to music. We might do something in the yard, listen to music, and it got later and later. To the point, I asked the question, hey, where you stay at? He said, oh, I sleep behind the tire shop. I said, you mean to tell me all this time you go by? He said, yes, call back. I got everything I need back there. He said, yeah, it ain't no problem. I said, all right, very humble, didn't bother him. I said, well, you're here every day. Why not? I said, why not just turn half of this garage into a, little studio apartment or whatnot? He said, yeah, I'll be cool with that. Get me a futon. At that moment, he had a lot of ideas on how he's going to design this place. I said, all right, let's do this then. So at that point, we did that. He most definitely was a blessing to the household. And he became like my best friend, my best buddy. Because, sometimes it's hard for, married folk to hang out with single folks. So that was my new friend. So I won't be in the street. So that was my buddy at that time. And it seemed to been one of the better decisions I made. That particular day, I came home and the light bill was due by 5. I had no way I really got tired of borrowing and paying back. I said, I'm not borrowing no money today, that's it. And I just started to brainstorm on how I was gonna get this done. Nothing was coming up. And at the time he was knocking at my window, I'm just trying to get him to understand I have a bigger problem I got to take care of before I can sit out and listen to music with you for the day. He sat back down, he watched me through the glass. I said, still trying to figure out how to do everything. He walked back to the window, he said, how long you gonna stay in the car for the day? I said, listen, I gotta come up with a couple of $100 so I can take down the PWC to this light bill place to keep these lights on today. He said, how much you need? Right away, because of who he is, I said, you don't have what I need today. You don't have what I need. So at this moment, he said, how much you need? I said, listen, I need at least $2 something to make a payment arrangement, but $400 or whatever to take care of the bill. He then proceeded to reach in his pocket, pulled out a knot of money, and immediately I'm like, where did you get this money from? He said, I took your lawnmower and I cut a couple of yards, while you was at work today, and that's what I made today. I said, you made it all in one day? He said, yeah. He said, well, the people at the gas station, I swept up around there, they gave me free beer, so I'm good to go with that. He said, yeah, go and you take care of me, so go and take the money. I said, you serious? Right away, I took that money, took it to PwC, paid my bill. My wife and daughter came home, never knew that took place. And at that moment, I went back to work. I sat there at my desk, looked out the window. I said, you know what? He made it that quick, and I'm waiting every 30 days to get a paycheck. Maybe I should, start helping Pete get around town and cut some more yards. I know the people. We can do it. And then when that got going, I seen a little bit of money coming in. I said, you know what? I'm finna do this full time. To close the chapter on that, it most definitely was a blessing that day, and I got my bills paid that day. But it ignited a fire that this man was asleep when I left the house. And he was home, showered, and dressed and relaxing before I got back to the house. And I wasn't technically off work, I was just stopping into the house. And that started to resonate with me big time. How can I leave the house with somebody asleep when I left and you home before I get home? And it's saying 8-hour day. At that moment, the wheels got turning. When you're at the bottom, all you know is to work and get up. And that's what started to happen between me and him. He was excited that I wanted to do something with him, and I was most definitely excited to be doing it with him. I've grown that business to this day to the point that I was able to give the business to Pete as I started something else. I gave Pete the landscaping part because with landscaping, people want their yards done a certain way, so they don't like to switch with that. So once I migrated to the trees and concrete, I let him continue to cut grass. And with no further ado, the BrotherStrong Community Inspiration Award goes to no other than my friend, Peter Tide. Congratulations, and this most definitely is well deserved. Thank you.